Hello, I'm James Theris with Level 10 Martial Arts College, and I wanted to kind of go over with you a little bit about what these things are. So we have a lot of different training tools that we use in our school, and these are probably the most common things. So each one of these things really helps to develop certain skills and attributes into our students, and there are things that we recommend students have at home as well for practicing when they're not able to make it here. So the very first thing we use a lot of times, sometimes these are called pork chops. They kind of look like a pork chop, but it's what's called a kicking paddle, and some of them are single like this one here, and some of them are double where they have, let's see if we have one here. Yes, one of our little ninja kicking paddles is a double and just what they call a clapper paddle. So this one is really for our smaller kids, and then this one is more for the bigger kids and teens and adults. And really what this helps to develop is accuracy in a student. So it's a moving target. So when we hold the target for our opponent, let's say we're doing roundhouse kicks. We might hold them like this if it's going to be a traditional roundhouse kick, or we might hold it like this if it's going to be a 45 or what we call a sparring roundhouse kick, which is a little bit different. And then, of course, this would be like a punch, and that would be a front snap kick. This might be a side kick or a back kick. That might be an axe kick. This could be a spinning wheel kick. These could be, I think I said punches. This could be a back fist. Lots of different types of techniques. That could be a hook kick, spinning wheel kick. Anyway, that's how it works, and this is really great for developing one's accuracy. Okay, so that's our kicking paddle. And then we also have another striking technique, or striking target, which is called a square target. And this is basically for mostly for hand techniques. So the kicking paddle is more for your feet, where the square target is more for hands. It's kind of like a boxing mitt that a boxing trainer would wear for. This is great for developing punches and accuracy in your punches and power. It's got a nice thick cushion to it, so you're not going to hurt your hand punching it. You can use back fists on it and ridge hands, and it's great for developing lots of striking techniques. So let's take a look at our next piece of equipment here. This is called a kicking shield. Now we can also do strikes on it as well, punches and palm heel strikes and things like that because of the size of it. We put this down here. What happens is we anchor this with this here and put this at the base of the thigh, and then we've got a strap up here if we need it, but really we put our fingers underneath that and just brace it and allow somebody to kick full force without having to worry about ourselves getting injured. So it's important we don't hold it out here because then that could happen and you could hit yourself. If you just brace it here, usually you can take the full force of somebody's kick and not get injured. Right? So this is helping us develop a little bit of power, but it also gives us the ability to move in on our opponent without it being a stationary target, like the next piece of equipment I'm going to cover here. So this is the Big Daddy. This is called our kicking bag, and that's really all about developing power. It's just that's the only thing it's really designed for. And this is a standing bag that you can put water in the base, or you could put sand in the base as well to keep it stable. And you can experiment with how much of it you put in there. And that's it. So I recommend sand if you're going to keep that on a permanent basis because it'll leak less. If you happen to have water in it, sometimes after you kick it for a while, it can create little cracks and the water can come out. We've had things like that as well. But nonetheless, this is something everybody should have at home. It's great for developing real, raw power in your techniques. And of course, I guess I didn't cover one of the other pieces of equipment we have in the school, and that's right here. That's the mirror, and that's what we use to develop the look of our technique, giving ourselves the ability to just kind of see what our technique looks like from a third-party perspective. I highly recommend that. And what I'm using right now, which is called a video camera, maybe you've heard of them, it's also a very good tool for developing your mechanics and your techniques, all of your techniques, whether it be kicking, blocking, striking, stances, punches, board breaking, weapons, forms, sparring, actual sparring techniques, sparring drills. There's nothing better than watching yourself on video so you can see what you really look like, because we have in our mind what we look like, and even sometimes in a mirror we can lie to ourselves, but when we see it from a video screen, it doesn't lie. It shows us everything that we are possibly doing wrong, and it's an underutilized tool. I think that because a lot of kids have grown up with this stuff, they just take it for granted, whereas people my age, we really appreciate this because we didn't have it wasn't so easy to get this kind of stuff when I was a kid. We had these Super 8 films that didn't have any sound, and you had to wait for 2 weeks you had to take the film out of the camera, take it in to have it developed at a drugstore, and it took a week or two to get them back, and then you had to feed the film through this little spool and put it on a projector, and then it showed up on a screen there. So it was very tedious to be able to do these things, and we did it, but you could only shoot 3 minutes at one time, so you couldn't just leave it running and then, you know, splice it later. You had to make every second count. But nowadays, people just have everything on their phone, or they have Game Boys and things. Everything's got a camera to it. So I think people just don't use it as much as they really should. And that's unfortunate, because if you're going to really be good, you have to learn to use video. All right? And in conjunction with these tools here, it can really make a difference. All right? And we also have one more little tool over here that we like to use. They're very inexpensive. It's called a pool noodle, and you can get them at Walmart for like $1 a piece, and they come really long, and you just cut them in half, and of course it allows you to, as you can hear, it sounds like it would be a lot of power, but actually it doesn't. I mean, there's very little, you know, damage one could do with this, but it's a great way to practice your blocking techniques without having to worry about getting your arm hurt or damaged, or your leg, things like that. You can also use it for kicks, and we can use it for jumping over and practicing our jumping height and raise it a little bit. So lots and lots of tools, and these are things that I think every student should have. So let's look at them one more time. We've got the mirror, we've got the kicking paddle, we've got a kid's version and an adult's version. We have the square target for hand techniques. Those are for leg techniques. We have the kicking shield, which allows you to be mobile and develop some power. And then, of course, the granddaddy, the kicking bag, which is strictly for developing power. So you have certain ones, accuracy and speed, power and mobility, power, focus, and speed as well. And is there anything I missed? And of course, with the mirror, properness, exactness. So this has been James Theris with a little bit of an overview of our martial arts training tools. If you have any questions or something you'd like for me to cover, or you have a question about martial arts or about our program, let me know in the comments, and I'll be happy to shoot a video for you guys on that very soon.